welcome back. We have another exciting episode of chatting with creatives across Australia. Or only at the moment, but look, we're looking for some US, maybe some EU guys as well. So stay tuned. We're going to have some exciting people around. But today I have a good friend, someone I met on my very first day of like being at events, going to meet everybody in the gaming space. And I think honestly, the first conversation I had outside of the people that I was working with or that we're working with was with this lovely gentleman here. I happen to be Mr. Tony Newton of Ghoti Incorporated, a very special friend of mine. Got a long story in the game space. How you doing today, Tony?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Not too bad. Oh, yeah. So you're you've been around for a minute, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the history of like game design. I know you do art as well. Without giving too much away, I want to let you talk to me about your side. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
All right. The easy short version. So basically back in the 2000s, I think actually 2003 from memory. So it's been a while. Got together with some friends and started doing some Australian superhero comics. We had fun. We told our stories. It was great. We got about maybe a dozen fans if we were lucky, and absolutely no money for us whatsoever outside of the very, very first ever time we tried to sell our comic. We photocopied it for nothing at my workplace and sold every copy we had, only because our table was right next to the entrance to the anime cinema, and everyone standing in the queue to get to it was just like, "Hey, your comic's $2. Let's get that." No worries. So we made it. And then after that, it was completely downhill from there. However, after doing all that, and I told my stories, I was a happy man, having told my stories to whomever, small people, even if it was just friends who'd read them. They were out of my head and on paper as physicality, so I was a bit done with wasting my money on it because it wasn't going anywhere. I was just like, it's probably not going to do anything. Let's just retire it, give a pause, have a break. Took a couple of years off. Stuff happened with my dad. My brother and I sold the old family home. Took our share of the cash, and I traveled around the world. So that was good. When I got back, I wanted to get back into my creative because I could never stop drawing and writing and thinking of stupid things to do. So I wanted to do something new because I knew that my old superheroes weren't really tagging the line. And I rummaged through some old stuff in case I had an idea that might have some legs. And lo and behold, that guy right there, Barry Beer, was one of the first drawings I ever did for a friend of mine. He wanted a whole bunch of rude Mr. Men for his tradies workshop. And I was like, sure, whatever. Here we go. And the first ever one that I put down happened to be a beer guy. And I was like, he could be fun. I could do some adult Mr. Men made of like alcohol and stuff. So I did beer. I did the wine for the ladies. So Wendy Wine was there. Just did those two books. Took them to a con. Totally sold out in 6 hours. Made $400. Most money I've ever made on comics. I was just like, it would appear Australians like having a drink. Oh, well. So I got stuck into the ideas and the creations and the characters, and I just panned it all out and created myself a decent little IP made of Barry Beer and the Beer Buddies. So I had 20 books, which I could show you because they're right here, but I'll get to that later. And going along with the bits and pieces, I was like, I wanted to do mostly just storybooks. And then I thought, well, if I do a bit of expansion, I'll do like one of the different genres. Like I'll do a sci-fi, I'll do a superhero, I'll do a fantasy, and just silly things like that. They were great fun to draw, they're great fun to write. Every time I'd finish one off, I'd share a copy to the friends that were working with, and they were not comic people at all. They were just regular dudes, because I discovered that basically my target audience was people. Wasn't that I thought it would be fellow comic people who liked the idea of the funny stuff or like something like that, but no, it just tapped into everyone who likes beer. So I went, all right, cool. Yeah, and everyone who read it read them and was like, "That's fun. That's funny. I like it." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm actually onto something that resonates with people." Cool. Did all the stuff, and then I thought, I wonder what sort of different drinking games there are, because I wanted to like explore that. I actually did up and researched this bad boy. Oh, invisible. It's apparently an invisible book. That's interesting. Oh, wait, there.
There we go.
Barry Beer presents. That's really weird. Barry Beer presents International Drinking Games Companion Omnibus. It's about yay thick.
Wow.
And it's got every drinking game. Oh, for God's sakes. So it's got every drinking game I could find on the internet from every country. It's about 200 to 300 different drinking games in here, most of which have to do with versions of cards, dice, coins, other little accoutrements like that.
Yeah, yeah.
A couple have to have some very, very specialized things which you can't get in Australia, but I
Wow.
managed to replicate those in the back of the book. So it's got stuff in the back so you can, if it needs a hat, if you don't have a hat to hand, you can cut the hat out in the book and you have a hat. Job done. So it was meant to be like that. And then I thought, well, what are the other drinking games that are specifically like copyrighted, like someone's invented their own drinking game? And I had a look at, and there's a lot of like card-based ones. If it was a board game, though, I found that there was two distinct variations. One, lots of board game with some references to drinking. They're just like Monopoly, but with the names changed to beer or wine or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
there's a Beeropoly and a Wineopoly out there, and there's absolutely no drinking involved whatsoever. It's just a drinking themed game.
Right.
The other extreme is it's all about drinking and there's bugger all board on it, really. And you just drink to get smashed. And sure, that will appeal to some people. But if you want to do a little bit of A and B, nothing was out there. So I'm very happy to come up with, let's see if this stays visible on screen. Nope. There we go. Got to tilt it to give it some shadow. Pub crawl.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll get rid of that.
Right, links to all these, so we can get great
Where
visuals
I'm
for everyone. So not worrying and fighting about the backing. So it's all right, guys. You can definitely check them out.
Oh, okay, cool. And the first one I sold at Tabletop Con, which is one of the first places I met Dylan, was a guy with a little teenage bunch of kids with him. He was like, "Hey, mate, this looks nice. It plays well. You take all the arguing out of Monopoly for us. I'll just put soft drink in and buy a copy right here." And I'm like, "Okay."
Easy.
It made me think afterwards. It is not only the stuff that appeals to people who drink. The gameplay appeals to people who just like to play with their family and stuff. To do a family-friendly version. So I opted to Drinks Run with Barry Bubble Tea. So that's the family-friendly version. It's exactly the same game, just with a reskin, a few tweaks to remove the alcoholic references, but it's the same game. It's nice and simple. So that's why I landed.
Across the world. Yeah,
After starting out in comics, I wound up in board games. Here we are.
We see a lot of that when you go to like graphic style work. A lot of people are interested in working on board games, whether it's like a classic board game like what you've got. I know there's so many people like putting their hands up to do like tabletop roleplay stuff because it's a lot more like a lot of expression you can put into the art there with like so many different like mythoses and different settings and everything. I've through my adventures through Indiverse, I have found hundreds of them. And like, I kind of expect to see, you know, the odd dozen, maybe 20 here or there, literally hundreds. And the art in the majority of them is phenomenal. I think it's almost like a gateway into like doing stuff like this. And it's something that I've wanted to like really look at from the Indiverse side of things as well. Because like there are just people out there who want the amount of like Kickstarter campaigns we see out there that have people with like, hey, we've got temporary art, we're looking for artists. And then I'm like, that's the great time to get onto people. Like they're inspired, they want to get out there and do things. The only thing that's holding them back is literally like this key piece. And there's so many out there that are like putting their hands up. And I don't know of a place where you can like just go and look at like a Rolodex of artists and like what their work looks like, how they operate, what sort of things they.
And depending on what you're working on, AI doesn't really go very far.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at something that's fairly generic, I suppose, great, probably get away with some AI stuff, but just because it's generic, you can do it. But if you're doing something really obscure, like I need a dinosaur to look like a cross between a dragon and a passion fruit, it's going to struggle.
Yeah.
You need someone who can actually pull that together artistically.
Yeah, especially, and I think that's the great call to that personal touch that you just don't get when you go to like either something that's been put out there from like free art put out on there, or you just grabbing stuff from like AI. There's like that level of like, well, how much passion fruit do I want? How much dinosaur do I want? Like, where is that gradient? Like in my mind, I see like a big passion fruit with like a little head poking out the front and a tail with some legs dangling out the bottom. Because I like that cross was very, very simple for me. Where someone else could have something entirely differently minded. So like there's that level that you just don't get from not having that conversation, and like having a conversation to an AI, like typing it in is different to having like a free flow conversation where you sort of like bounce ideas off each other, like create something actually unique. So yeah, I think that's
exactly. And like I thought wonder how it'd go developing something that's like, I didn't want to use AI, but I was curious how it would go. We're doing something that's Barry Beer like. Nothing. Absolutely no idea how to pull that shit off. Cannot
Okay.
do. Like, they can't do these guys at all. Um,
Okay.
and like, even if you do it, you're doing some AI stuff. If you manage to stumble across AI that does perfect or near perfect passion fruit dragon dinosaur thing, whatever, then
Mm.
you go, oh look, it's good, but just tweak that. The next prompt, it'll be a completely different fucked up image. So you can never get what you actually want
Yeah.
unless you are idiotically lucky.
Unless you just get the exact right thing you're looking for at the right time. Yeah, I agree. Because like you can just generate the same
Exactly.
thing again, and it grabs like new art styles, realism differences. It's like animated versus like real. You got cell shade. Like there's so many different levels that it just doesn't keep that consistency there. And like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like the closest I came was like, I've got this, that's just a personal thing that I've been working on for fucking decades. Some friends of mine and I came up with it. Jesus Christ, 30 years ago, I think it was.
wow,
It's a stupid idea, but it just stuck in my head. I really liked it. Like one of our guys drew a cover image for it. It looked nice.
okay,
And the pretense was that, Gilligan's Island TV show.
a
Right. So
classic.
all those shenanigans, yeah, but classic. All those shenanigans were just shenanigans, but the actual Gilligan's Island was in fact a real thing. But what it was a secret training ground for the most deadly task force on the face of the earth.
Wow.
So, like in the story, everyone it starts with everyone chained up. We were going to make like a role playing thing,
Okay.
and everyone had
Okay.
different characteristics and skill sets. But Gilligan's specific skill set was absolute bumbling fuckwit, but like nat 20 when he's doing that. If he's trying to do something, he will go nat 1. But if he doesn't mean to do something, it's nat 20 every fucking time. So like they're all chained up, and Gilligan can reach the gun in someone else's holster. And he just pulls the trigger, and everyone just sits there, and they get bullets ricochet off things, and they whiz past ears, through trousers, brushing the hair on the testicles. Nothing ever hits them except one padlock flicks it open, and off they go. That's the whole point of him.
He's like
And I just thought
the
it would make a really cool story, and I cannot for the life of me work out the story. So I thought, well, how about if I break it down? What characters do I want? How do I link them together? Then maybe I can work on something and have AI help me with it. And so all I did was go in and go, in the style of a spy comic book, do, Gilligan as a spy. And that would come up, there he is, with the hat, but in the suit, looking like a comic. Done. That's it. It's because it's simple, because you've got the reference for all of those things, and it puts them together.
yeah
It's nothing weird. If I
yeah.
wanted Gilligan as a dragon, that would work.
There's not that
Or as a piece of
crossover.
fruit, it wouldn't work. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that sort of, but so I got all that together, and now I can sort of sit down and maybe look at how that would work, how that would work, and I worked out that there's going to be now it's because it's been so long since we started it. It's going to start out with those guys as the prelude, and then it'll jump forward to the kids, which will be all the action shit from the 80s, all that silly crap like Knight Rider and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
it'll jump ahead, and the actual story will take place now with whatever's on television at the moment. So it'll be like I wouldn't be able to put this out unless apart from a free thing, because it's completely, every single IP under the sun is what I'm using. It's basically fan fiction.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But I
playable
like
fan fiction. Yeah.
it. Yeah. So anyway, that's my thing. But anyway,
The thing that I like about the idea for that Gilligan's Island when you run it is a tabletop, especially when you take that. It's like taking a well-known thing and then flipping it a little bit. And there's a lot of that when it comes to like other mediums and in games. We only, like I guess we see mainly when it comes to things like uh, successive versions, like different themed versions of that. You talked about like a beeropoly and wineopoly before, and how that's sort of like, even though beer and wine are not an IP that you can own, but there are things there that like a Marvel, they have this, that, and the other thing. And even though there are some cool license games out there, I've seen a handful of them. I didn't realize how big like video game designers, books, films, everything has like a game adjacent to it. And there's a couple of like specific brands out there that just do that. They don't do Kickstarter, crowdfunding, but they get hired or contract. I'm not sure how it works business wise, but they just make games like that. I had no idea. Had no idea. I feel like I learned something new. It's so cliche. It feels like I learn something new about the industry every day. Because like, how do you learn about all of this unless you're like, neck deep in it all the time, all the time? It's just nuts. But you, like you say, you've been around for what, what, 2003, so what, 20, 22 years in the industry.
Yep, 22
How's
years in the industry.
Yeah, yeah. And you've been to like events, cons, and that with the people all across doing board games, graphic novels, art, all that. How's it
Yeah.
changed in 20 years? 22.
Oh, the changes have been, well, they've been pretty big, I must say. Like, we started out at Supernova when it was tables were cheapish. Well, they weren't cheap, but they were still much cheaper than they are now. You could set yourself up, you could do what you like. Um, and it was a good experience. Now, the tables to do your own stuff at a Supernova are horribly, prohibitively expensive. The Artist Alley doesn't get the traffic that it used to at all.
Oh.
I remember one year we were actually tucked away in a corner somewhere, and because it was like Supernova, Artist Alley, everybody just kept walking past. We were dead up there. No one came up here. It was like a handful of people would stumble up every now and again, but no one was buying our stuff because there was no one to sell it to.
Mm,
But nowadays, it's all about the big stuff. It's all about the stores, the stalls. If you do want to do your own thing, you basically have to take your idea, throw it out the window, and then just focus on doing your idea combined with DC and Marvel characters. So if you love drawing cats, you have to do cats dressed as superheroes or anime. If you do flowers, the flowers have to be dressed up as, otherwise nobody looks at your shit. Nobody gives a fuck. So that it's weird because that change like into a very comic superhero focused merch world
mm.
doesn't translate independent stuff.
No,
It's like all
no.
the basically before it used to be like because it was superheroes and stuff were all, sort of on the fringe. You could get incorporated in that fringe, but
Yeah.
now it's become big, humongous business. Little things don't get looked at very much. So I haven't been at a Supernova for better part of a decade and a half at least. In the last couple, I did the Comic Gong, the little one down in Wollongong.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty good, I must say, because it's really small. They don't have a lot of big merchandise stuff. It's all about little people
Yep, yep.
with cosplay and that sort of stuff. So that's actually really good to focus on small independent stuff. You've got a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the only ones. Like I think I did the Newcastle Writers Festival. No such thing as art. It was called back in the day. I think it still goes now. Haven't been to it for a damn long time.
Okay.
But that was pretty good again because it was focused on
The independent
like
space.
indie people. It was all about indie people. Um, Admittedly, your audience shrinks because that only gives you indie people audience specifically.
Yeah, yeah.
But at least you've got an audience. So yeah, currently the best ones I've been to have been like the game cons, like CanCon, Tabletop Con, even PAX, if you could afford to do PAX. Because if you've got a game in you, it's basically now like Supernova used to be. You can do your independent stuff and still get an audience of people looking at the big stuff. If it ever goes down the same path as the big Comic Cons and Supernovas, and it only looks at big stuff that can only get PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever, and doesn't really focus much on the little people and tucks them away at the back and there's only like 3 stalls for them, then it's going to really ruin things. But now, yeah, the physical side of things, the game conventions are the place to get your stuff looked at.
I'd
If
agree.
if you're an artist, it'd probably be good to walk around with a portfolio and go, do you need art for a new game? This is what I can do. And someone could go, no, 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 wait, no, that's actually perfect. I need that sort of art. Come and talk to me now.
When I
As for Kickstarter, it's interesting as well because
Yeah, yeah.
earlier it was easier, but now there's so many people doing Kickstarters and so many things that happen within Kickstarter, and there's other platforms as well. It's not terrible, but it's kind of like dropping the ocean stuff. You've really got to
Yeah.
be lucky. You're gonna have to push marketing, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of the things to try and expand an audience of some sort. And at the end of the day, you're probably only going to be selling to basically a couple of randoms and your friends. So I don't know if Kickstarter is going to be the place for me. I think I'm going to be looking at the tabletop cons and doing that. And instead of trying and sell the books,
Oh, man, you do have a stack of them, don't you?
books that I've got, yeah. I'm going to try and push the game, and the game will drive people towards the books and merch.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's where I'm going to have to live.
Okay, that's fair. It's and I wonder whether I only know of one. It hasn't really obviously been in my purview, being focused more on the tabletop space. But I know of a book. There's a book convention down here in Melbourne. It's down in Clunes, which is out on the west side of the state, and they do indies. They have like they have that big separation of like the big publishers and the small guys as well. But they have the thing that they do well, which I think is something that PAX really differentiates itself when it comes to the bigger events, like you talk about, like the Comic-Con and stuff like that, where they're just all commercial all the time, is they have something that's big and loud about, this is where our indie space is. Like for PAX, there was PAX Rising. There's massive banners between the two major entrances that you were in.
Exactly. If they had that at some of the comic conventions, like
just
specifically focusing and telling people about the independent stuff.
Yep.
That might be a better context. But yeah, PAX is definitely really good for that, and the other convention as well. Like Tabletop Con is basically for
amazing.
It's the Comic Gong, or no such thing as art for games. It's all about indie, which is great. It's a good small space, and you can get an audience together, and it's lovely.
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah, it's good. And CanCon's a little bit different. It focuses on the war games and the role playing games, with everything else sort of tacked on. So board game specific people probably don't get much of a look in. Like there's stalls around, but there's not. It's a bit like a supernova. CanCon's a bit like a supernova. It's all about the stalls and the big stuff, the commercial stuff for them, which should be D&D and Warhammer and actual war games.
Yeah.
And less about the little people. But yeah, Tabletop Con and PAX, nail it.
My experience of CanCon was, I had the idea of that, where like it was an event for a couple of tournaments as well. Like the war gamers on the eastern coast, the eastern side of Australia, apparently it is like the one place where they have that bigger stage where they have multiple games. So for them, it's like their yearly get together to play their obscure, back of the internet tabletop war game, which on the last day we were there and the events were all wrapping up and people only had like one game rather than like the 3 or 4 for the other days, you'd see them coming out in swaths as the games were done and just talking about the war games that were there. So the community side for CanCon, I think, is phenomenal. The roleplay stuff as well, I think,
it's huge. Fantastic. And when I say supernova, it's more like an early supernova where independent stuff was there, but it was like it wasn't as
big as the
pushed
event.
to the side. Yeah, CanCon's like that because you've got a good audience of gamers down there that will explore new stuff. With the early CanCon, Comic Cons and stuff, supernovas, you had a lot of the comic nerds there, and they were happy to explore some of the independent comic stuff. I think now it's more about the commercial stuff. It's people who want to go there for the commercial stuff.
Yeah, they're there for the next installment, limited edition print run stuff. They probably do promo editions or cards or graphic stuff to go with the events as well, which is that's promotion for them. Like, it makes perfect sense to why they would do that. But yeah, it definitely does sort of lean into like tickets and people who are interested in going to be that specific niche for the event they're putting on, which makes sense, kind of sucks, but it's good for them too. So I think that having like a specific space, like you say, like Tabletop Con, the PAX specific areas, I actually really enjoyed PAX for the split of like independent stuff they had in the tabletop space and in the video game space, and then obviously PAX Rising as well for like even earlier like newer creators, people who were doing playtesting. Like, I like that differentiation they have there. They have their big star-spangled banners. They have their middle ground of the indie space in amongst all of that, and then they have their up-and-comers. Like, that, I think, and they display it well. They've got bannering, postering. It's all over their maps. Like, I think just presenting it well so that people know what to go for, because it's a massive event.
All it is to be presented well and, have people know about it, and it'll improve everything.
Works.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
It works. We've got passing improvement. Good job.
So that's definitely the event space, and most people that we speak to, I can't say everyone because like going through guarantees in life, you can't swing on those. But like there's the thing that everyone says, like there's the event hype that goes with it. And most people count it off, and you talk about like cost of like going to an event versus like the money you make out of it and that. And most people we speak to are going above, so they're making money and like getting themselves ahead as far as like getting an event and turning up everything like that in there. Is that something that in your experience that you've seen has been consistent? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Where do we sit now compared to say, let's say 15 years ago?
Question. What's the crux of it again?
So would you say that people turning up to events with stuff to sell, are they, in your experience, would you say people are making like they're as successful as they were say 10, 15 years ago, or they're finding more success going to events nowadays compared to back then?
Oh, that is a good question.
It's rough. It's one I honestly have no idea myself, because Kickstarter and that have changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't tell you because I've only been going the last year and a bit now, so I don't have any context on the past for game.
Fair. That's very fair.
We're
Yeah.
new to the scene. So for me, going to these little game conventions has been fabulous. I might be able to squeeze myself into a CanCon in the future if I can do well enough, or it's inexpensive enough. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, PAX with the PAX Rising thing has been fabulous. So I'd have to assume that maybe it's on the rise, or it's slightly improved, because I don't think we've had PAX for that many years, have we?
Oh, definitely not as long as like the traditional year Comic Cons and that. It's probably maybe 10, 15 years. Maybe that's it. But it has changed a lot in that time.
Actually, it has been about 10, 15 years. Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't even know about PAX until I was hanging out with Josh and the Dragon Dice folk and you. And I discovered it existed because I've never been a big gamer per se. But if I'd known, I probably would have gone down to it, to be honest. It sounds like a great thing. So I don't know how it's obviously grown, because first ones are always small and they start expanding. But it's huge now. It's bigger than Supernova, I'd have to say.
Oh yeah. Like started obviously in the US, but like
it looks more impressive, I must say, because they've got the big banners, they've got all the, like I said, the PAX Rising, all the stuff, and it's really well put together. It's not. It's not really. I wouldn't say it's half-assed, but Supernova really pushes for the commercial stuff, and that's about it. So they don't really do much more.
Haven't been. Actually, I haven't been to Supernova for. I was at university when I went to my last Supernova. If that ages me a little bit, it's a long time, like 15.
You, that was like 2 years ago.
No, I know I've got fresh face. The camera hides the grey as well. I love it.
You're fair enough.
But like, even for me, like I've been a Melbourne boy, local, born and bred my whole life, and like I knew about PAX, but like a lot of the details in that never really came out for the first few years. And you're absolutely right. Like I think it was probably 5 or 6 years deep where they started to actually put out what they did, rather than just like, oh, it's for games. Because like that's so broad. That's all I ever heard about. It's like, oh, it's for games. You should come to the events. I'm like, but what's there? What's there?
There you go.
How do I?
Yeah, so they've been learning how to primp and preen themselves to the correct animal to exploit what they're going for.
Yeah. That's definitely. I think that's part of the success, though. Like, I think that knowing what people want to know
correctly.
Yeah. Identifying who they're going for, planning out exactly what they want and how they best attract the people that they want to bring along, which is like anyone who enjoys games. So why not get a bit of everything, which is what they do, I think, really well. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's but talking about like their physical presence versus online, because that was the big thing for them. How do you figure out what is there unless you have someone who's physically been there, which again, small circles and that, especially back in that day as well, like having that sort of event didn't have the crowds. It wasn't as popular to be like a part of those crowds or into that sort of stuff back in the day. And not like it's had massive swings, but now it's like everyone and anyone goes there. Like being what they called like a nerd when we were, well, even when I was still growing up, it's totally different now. Like the acceptance there is so good. The years that we've come through and all that. So I think that has a lot of weight to it as well. But online, I think, is one of those like big pivotals for them. And we talked, like you mentioned a little bit before, about like growing an audience. Like that's got to be a challenge. I mean, they have massive.
I don't even know how to do it properly, to be honest.
Yeah. Like
I thought it'd be Instagram and stuff like that and YouTube videos, but apparently that's old.
it's
If I need to do it, apparently I have to go through do the TikTok thing, and to do that properly, you need to have dedicated time to really do it
yeah,
consistently. I
yeah,
can't do consistent because of the whole single dad with a special needs son. It's not an option for me. So I've got to be able to do what I can when I can.
yeah.
So I'm going to stick with my plan, doing the YouTubes and the Instagram posts every now and again.
Mm.
But I think the conventions, like I said, definitely Tabletop Con. I'm not sure how many I'm going to be able to do in the near future, but eventually I'll get down to it. But that's hopefully where guys at Indiverse will help me out by putting me in their space, and then they can basically take me on the road.
That's
I'll
one
do
of
a
the things.
card of myself. Take me with you.
We have a guy for that now. Maybe. All goes well.
There you
Yeah.
go. That'd be cool, actually. That'd be good.
Yeah, we've
Just
talked.
like a cardboard cutout of me saying, "I'm with Indiverse,"
One of the things
but
we've been.
I've got like a hand, like a cutout hand on a spring that just waves.
Well, they say they have someone
I'm
who
down,
does
I'm down
like
for that.
weirds and wonderfuls of like additional like whether it's like weird geometry or just something massive. They have a guy to actually do the engineering of like those cardboard style cutout things. So it could be a thing that they'd be able to do. I don't know. We'll find out the fun way, mate. But yeah, it's
All
something
right,
that
cool
we've
beans.
looked at, especially
I'm on
with
board.
like travel.
I'm in. I'm in.
Put you down for my first one. You can be our guinea pig, bud. But the travel part, like getting around Australia, like it's not free. Like it's not whether you, I mean, unless you walk, but then it has a physical toll. You're paying somewhere. But like that's one of the things that we've looked at is like having a table. Like everyone has a table at like all the events and that. Some people don't have quite yet their game, or they can't afford to come down, and they're trying to do different things with the game. And we want to do a space like we had for CanCon. A creator was like, oh, I can't make it to this event. We'll send you some inventory. You guys are going to be there. This is like the sell sheet, the pricing, that, and you guys can just sell as representatives of us. Everything goes through the same system, and then we can be there, or creatives can be there without being there. But it associates with us. It's good for them. They're able to get there without the cost of getting a table, and they can sell some gear. And hopefully, it inspires others in the space to come and work with us too, because they see the investment that we put into the people with just what we would do normally anyway, which is turning up to events and having a good time like we did at CanCon and PAX and every other event we're going to this year. Man, the list grows and grows. It's very exciting time.
Yeah, cool. You going to Tabletop Con?
Sure am. Sure am. Couldn't hold me
I'll see you
back
there.
from it. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I don't think we got a table this time. I think we're just gonna be there with the guys from
Wandering.
Yeah, Dragon Dice moving through and that. Yeah, just trying to, because it'll be so close to like launching that. We'll be there, and I didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to commit to whole days, because we'll be running through new people coming on board, hopefully all the time now. So we just want to be a little bit more free rather than stuck there for the whole day. As much as I'll probably be there for the whole day anyway. Yeah, it's definitely trying to plan while we're still in the throes of getting this thing launched and out there, and that does make it hard to sort of plan for that. But look, we just say, well, look, pencil in everything, whatever we can make, we're absolutely going to. Past that, it's kind of just like, well, maybe not this year, because just everything is still moving and shaking as it does. But marketing, because we've brushed on that, but I want to circle back, because this is one of those big things that you talk about, because like events, great for getting out there, getting presence there, getting games across, like the idea that I just shared with us having games with Indiverse, with whatever we're doing. Sure, great, but that means that you've got to get a little bit beyond that. Like you've got to have a presence out there to do this stuff as well, because if we share stuff and you talk about like people's networks, like our space with the people that we work with compared to like a new creative coming in who already has people that might like what they do, it's really important to start like meshing those things together, to start building like the space so more people find out about more games and more space. So how do you find for yourself, if you were doing it today, where would you start? If you had no responsibilities, open Tony, you had 5 years off to yourself, everything was taken care of for you, how would you start it today?
The marketing, or just the entire process?
Marketing. Yeah, so getting out there, letting people know what you do. 3 years.
If I was able to just go and do stuff, I'd like pack copies of my game, samples of this, that, and the other, and I'd send out emails. I'd hit the road. I'd go to for my thing. It's definitely going to be it's a novelty thing. Like my stuff is novelty stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I've struggled to find a publisher for the books because very few of them do it, and I don't know where to go to approach them.
Yeah.
I'm going to explore that a little bit, but because yeah, they're not going to be in bookshops. They're going to be in
No.
those fun places. If I
Yep.
could maybe get a deal with, I don't know, Dan Murphy's or some other place that sells alcohol in bulk, they might be able to put a little thing on the side with my stuff in it.
Sure.
That might
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
The games are going to be a similar thing, like approaching the microbreweries, the bottlers, but also the party fun stuff places that stock all those weird things. That's probably where I'm going to have to land, and I don't mind. Like I just needed to land somewhere. I'm
Mm.
still surprisingly confident that once I do get these guys going, they're going to do well. Because like I had a random hit from Stan ages ago, the TV streaming network, and
Okay.
they were mildly curious. And at that point, I was like, "Well, shit! If someone's actually interested now that and I was only just starting out, I had just begun the process of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, well, fuck, I've got to. How do I protect myself? How do I do all the bits and pieces? And I've got an animation consultant to have a look at my stuff, and she was like, "No, no, this is unique. No one's doing anything like it. If you can make it work, it'll work."
Wow.
So sort of like confirmed that I do have a valid IP and it will do stuff. I just got to get it to the point that does its stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's terrifying, to be honest. Because if it takes off somewhere and there's extra expenses I didn't foresee, I can't match that. So I
Yeah.
don't want it to chew away at what little I've got or just disappear completely. So it's a really fine balancing act for me to try and get that to the point. So this year's where I'm going to try and at least string up the tightrope and take a first few steps onto it, and then hopefully I can balance my way into it.
I love the, and it maybe just because I've given you 5 free years, but it almost sounds like you've already put this plan in place, even though you have the restrictions that you have in like the personal life and that. And I think that that's phenomenal. Like that, I think there, like you've already identified you're not going here, you're not going there. Like you know where your game sits. You haven't just sort of like followed the followed the road that everyone else takes or expected to take. Because a lot of people
Well,
that
yeah,
come
like
in,
I'm not going to approach Hasbro. I'm not going to go. It's not going to do anything for me. It's going to be
nah,
my thing in a store somewhere, and then if I can work out a way to get it sent in bulk cheaper somehow, that'd be fabulous.
mhm.
That's my next game. I don't know where I can find it in bulk to go cheaper.
Look, that's fair,
So
man. It's one of those issues that comes up with like all creatives when they're trying to put something together. And I think that the problem with it is either there's one solution that sort of fits for everyone, but it's too far away, or like you don't get the right pieces, or the it's not consistent. Like there's a lot of things that can happen that make things go pear shaped. And the fact that everyone wants to make something a little different, even though they have the core components made of the similar stuff, designed in semi-similar ways, there's just never that like holy grail of place to go to get it because it depends on everything that you want to do with the game.
mm,
So yeah, I can't understand it. Not something I've ever gone through, but I can definitely sympathize. Having trying to put things together like that in from discrete vendors all over the place is something that I've done for I did for many years, and it's not a fun time. It's not easy at all.
no. I think actually also the other thing I think which will help if I can start pulling myself together to pull it off in little bursts will probably be to go to some local markets.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
again, I'm a novelty thing. If I've got samples there and QR codes, people can just go click, go and buy it.
That's it.
If
Yeah,
someone likes it, they'll bag it.
that's it. Yeah, like little. I see like I can only talk for Melbourne because that's where I've homed and grown. I see like little Sunday markets and that where people do like you do your fruits, your fresh meats. People have like wines and spirits and stuff that they've like bought in from like microbreweries across the whole state country and that. Like you're right in that little corner as well. It's not even a corner; it's a massive part. People go there and pick out all kinds of weirds of wonderfuls when it comes to like
Yeah,
drinking and
exactly. And I
alcohol.
think because I've got the alcohol theme
Mm,
that appeals to basically everybody who
yeah,
drinks, um, markets are going to be good because regular Joes will go there and they'll go, "Hey, I like a beer. That's pretty fucking funny. I'll buy that." Or where do I get this? Blah 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 blah.
exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah.
that's the next phase is for me to start really getting myself into that. I'm gonna have to get some little samples of T-shirts made up somehow and string them up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I might be able to help with that. If you could send me some designs of what you want to do, we just actually got a printer for these guys. So let me know, man. Happy to, if you need a couple of test prints, I can grab shirts, send them up to you. It's no problem.
How small can you go?
Well,
Can you go kid-sized and infant-sized?
or I could I'd have to check. I haven't done any of the stuff
Because
myself.
that way I could get more shirts hung up behind me, and you can see what
Mm,
they look like shirts without having to put the entire fucking shirt up there. So in the space of one of these things, I could have at least two, maybe three tiny shirts.
might be able to do like
That's
custom cut
theory.
size as well, because like there's definitely a lot of things we could
Yeah,
do
that
with
or
it.
I can
Yeah,
just get them. Yeah, or just get the design plus the outline of a t-shirt printed on material, and I just cut it out, and I've
there
got
you go.
a shirt.
There you go. Hey, anyone who does like accessories or does t-shirt prints, free idea for you. You can take it from us. Tony and I, ideas for I don't know, dime a dozen. Well, we'll do 2 dozen.
Yeah,
There's 2 of us here.
let's do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. I think that's the thing that I think a lot of people in the creative space who aren't that like marketing, sales, like that business direction grad, they sort of just they don't take that same depth of analysis they would for something creative into the business side. But I think that that's something that I don't know comes with like experience, age. You've made so many mistakes that you just have learned from doing it all. Like there's so many ways in which you can get to where you sort of found yourself and know like the strengths and weaknesses of what you do, especially for something so niche. And you didn't even mention the best part, man. You left out a key pivotal thing in your books, the stuff that you do that I have read and gotten myself, which I love, by the way. You have cocktail recipes. You have stuff to do with it, not just with your
Yeah, well, I
game.
haven't touched on the books yet, have I?
No,
I
no,
mean,
you have like those
yeah,
adjacent
no,
things. That's the best
the
part.
books
Like,
are great. Like the idea behind the book was to make it a story that resonated with the nostalgia theme that every adult's into these days.
yeah,
So
that's
it
it.
looks like a Mr. Mint, but it's for grown-ups. Apart from a couple of jokes and the cast members, you've got to have something in there as extra for grown-ups to enjoy. So if it's a like Wendy Wine, she has an actual beginner's guide to wine tasting. Barry Beer ends badly at a party, so the party games you play, you get the rules to those few games that's in the pages. But yeah, cocktail recipes, all those bits and pieces are in there,
Like that's
including in the wine table. If I've got a history of the alcohol, if there's a recipe from the past, it's in there. Otherwise, you just get a little bit of trivia about the history of that alcohol. So yeah,
and
good fun.
that's that little like that's an extra piece that you don't it's not oh you've got to pay for this extra piece in there this like like regardless of whether they just want to like have a fun time with drinks, they want to enjoy the comics or the art style, or they're there for that like additional deep dive into alcohol because they're really into wine or gin or this or the other thing. Like
Yeah.
you're capturing so many different personas in that theme of alcohol, and I think that that's really interesting for a not a niche product because alcohol is obviously consumed by many people, but in like games and then graphics and then now you've got alcohol on top, that's starting to water down that and make that such a small space to there. But you grow it because you draw in what everyone has from the subject matter, what they draw to,
Exactly.
the alcohol in general, the culture around it, and you made something into it for it. I love it. I think it's fantastic, man. I haven't tried any of the cocktails yet. I haven't done much cocktails at home in my bit of time here with this.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I'm not a big fan of most alcohol either. I just drink beer, but I understand that there's a draw card for all that. So
yeah, yep,
let's explore it.
yeah. You might as well.
If I
Like,
had if you want, I can change the graphic behind me to show you the old periodical table of elements that I changed to periodical table of alcohol.
yeah, go for it.
Really looks good.
Yeah, I could not throw in the cocktails there, man. It's such a great idea. I heard it when I heard it from you the first time. I was blown away. Oh, looks great. Looks great. Have you got that?
Periodical table of alcohol.
Yeah, I could see in the back there. What do you got? I got alcohol, different gins. You got mixes of the cocktails in there, man. That looks awesome. I swear I've seen that before, but it still wows me. It still wows me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I did a lot of research. It goes from the lowest to the highest percentage of alcohol.
Fantastic. I'm sure it's going to be helpful on. You know what? It's a good like cheat sheet for the night. Anyone who goes to like pre-drinks or anything like that, there you go. You got you can balance them out for yourself.
Exactly right. You have to send me an Indiverse logo or icon or something.
Yeah. I can. Yeah, we have this guy here. So our little 6. We call it 6-pointed star, but there's 7 points in the center. Yeah. We're looking at getting a whole bunch of stuff done with it. I had a couple ideas for like making this a little bit more of a creative space as well. I don't know, maybe an inspiration from Google, also from
Yeah, maybe you're
Steam.
telling me you're going to have like a person with their arms extended.
Mm,
That's the creative.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
not
like,
about.
yeah, different themed stuff around the Met Center Star, which is meant to be like the table. So bringing everyone together in around the table from different spaces. So like different themed people around. So you have like a space person, like a knight or a priest from like the Middle Ages. You know, fantasy. You have high, like low fantasy, like grim dark stuff, like everything around there. But because there's so many different genres, I was thinking, why not just have, you know, either creatives or like studios and that make a logo set specifically, like make it for like for the website or the space in their style. It could be on there, so when people go to their vendor page, rather than having our logo, they have the logo that they bled up for us or made up for us, you know. Or if you go to the homepage of the site, it's like a Rolodex of all of the different Indiverse logos that people have uniquely put together with just this little simple thing in mind. And you could click on that, and that might take you through like an artist portfolio of that person as well. So it's a specific artist or a
That's not a bad
studio
idea
that you like the
because mine
graphic
would be
of.
easy because mine's circular. All I'd do is make all the points of your star the Barry Beer logo, but keep the style exactly the same, and that way it's mine and yours combined.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah, that's it.
Twist.
Yeah, that's the. It's a lot of little creative ideas, and technically, I don't know if we could do it with what, like the way that the website's being built still, but like it's ideas, it's things that we can float around. Because if we have the ability to do something weird and wonderful and just show off again that other piece of the puzzle we're trying to get there, which is like the community building and showing off artists, and like I'm all for it. I'm so for it. If we can do it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to do it. Yeah, that's the piece. The next piece of the puzzle is figuring out how we get people to see. It's hard to say. Look at this value. Look how good it is for you, and get them to be like and bite in for that. Because you go to someone like that, and
That's the thing, and you've kind of got to get it set up with a couple of people on it, so to get more people, they can see what it looks like.
yeah, and people can talk like about the positives that come around it,
Yeah.
the
So
positives, the goods, the bads, the uglies, because like nothing around it is ever going to be perfect, like any business. But like if it's just, and it's never going to be perfect for everybody as well. We've had a handful of people that like have made it to a certain position or like a certain level of success, or they just aren't looking to do anything in like a retail space. They just want to do crowdfunding, and that's fine. Like not everyone, like this marketplace, the business that we're organizing, and like the community we're building isn't for everyone, because it's just not that's not where they're aligned to. How they've like when they started to become a creative, this isn't the goal they set themselves, and that's
exactly.
that's
And like
fine.
I was initially going to do a Kickstarter, but I'm doubting that I'm going to bother now because if whatever happens, it goes well, but if I off on my calculations in any way, like I said before, I can't match what happens. I mean, admittedly, that means I could just delete my account and vanish with the money, and no one can touch me because that's the whole point of a Kickstarter. You tick going, yeah, there's risks, whatever, because people have done that.
Mm,
I wouldn't feel good about it,
that's very fair. And
especially because
Kickstarter,
at least half the people buying my stuff would be people I know, so they'd be like, well, where's my money back?
yeah, look, that's very fair. That's
So
very fair.
yeah,
It's got to be.
anyway.
That's the avenue that people go to, and they swarm to in hundreds, if not thousands, of creatives a year. More than it's like 3 to 4 thousand something funded board game projects a year, or game projects, which splices in a little bit of video games, but they have their own
Yeah.
avenues with like itch.io and Steam. Like there's so many good avenues, they don't have to do Kickstarter for that sort of thing. But you know, there's thousands of games that come out every year, and they're finding these like things for success. Do you have any idea? Like I've talked to a bunch of people, but I'd love to know your theories and thoughts as to why and how that is, and how it doesn't work for everyone. But let's start from the top. How come all these Kickstarters are going through if it's really difficult to find the right audience? Thoughts?
How do you think they're going through, as in getting funded?
Yeah, how are they getting funded? If there's big problem with like people getting through, and that's just the ones that succeed. There is a massive amount that
I have
don't
no
succeed.
idea. And
Yeah.
like I see a bunch of times now as well that in recent years, there's a lot of legitimate gaming companies and other companies that, quite frankly, have their advertising budget and have everything that they could possibly want doing Kickstarters. It's like Kickstarter should be saying no. Like I don't know if Hasbro doing, but let's say Hasbro. Hasbro, you can't be a Kickstarter. You're a fucking huge company. Fuck off and die. It's just for the little people. but they're not. They're just going, okay, whatever. We're taking money and we don't give a shit about anybody. Because if something goes sideways, they still take their cut and don't care. They just don't give a shit. So a lot of people get frustrated with the Kickstarters, but more get done and done properly than don't. Like I've only been burnt once, I think, on a Kickstarter, and I've got back to about 30 so far, 30, 40.
Yeah.
And they've all come through. Some of them have been late. There was one that it was very late, but he was. This is the thing, you got to be open and upfront about it all as well. Like he was, had a breakdown. There was a whole bunch of stuff went wrong, but he still followed through, and he pulled it out of the bag. It was lovely. He basically did these. He was doing like what a cipher is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got like the A through to Z around the inner circle, and the outer circle. The inner circle is like X, L, M, N, different, and you line it up to decipher what you're doing. So he did that based on different like runes or different alphabets,
Ooh, okay.
Elvish, or acrylic. Doesn't matter if it was real world or fake.
Oh.
And you can just spin the dial to line up the letters with the outer letters, and then it was just a nice simple cardboard cutout of all the different fonts A through to Z. And you just line a little line up to expose that thing, work out where it goes, and just so simple. It worked.
Yeah.
He did like a resin 3D print, I think it was.
Wow.
So it came
Okay.
out nice. Yeah, but it took forever for the to get sorted out, but he did. So I just don't think Kickstarter's for big companies. Like Cobalt Press that do the AD&D adjunct things, they're doing it, but they're certainly big enough to sort themselves out. They don't need a Kickstarter.
Yeah. That's one of the.
It shouldn't. It's nothing to do with me, but it does bug me. I'll play lots on that one.
I get it because it, and I think I can't remember who I was speaking to, but it kind of turns this crowdfunding space, which, as you say, is sort of designed for people who can't afford to put together a massive game or like their dream together because they're not a successful business or have a successful career where they can like take the money, they screw it away because they've been working as like an accountant, an architect, like someone with a big successful career that can just be like, I can just throw money at this thing and it's not really going to hurt my situation in life. Like it's not made for those. And you're right. I think that's the original intent for it. It turns it into Amazon. It turns it into like Amazon's
There has lab stuff. They do that Kickstarter type thing. It's frustratingly silly.
Yeah, because like you say, they could likely afford to put this thing together, like in their own sphere. I think the only thing that they get, like anything useful for, anything unique that they couldn't get off their own back, is just knowing how many people want to buy it. That's it. I think that's it.
I mean, if they just use Kickstarter as like a gauge without actually having it be a Kickstarter, like, would you buy this? It's a survey, basically. Just do Survey Monkey, to be honest. Send it out to everybody that they fucking have contact with. Will you buy this? They get two back that say yes. Well, they're not going to make it. They get all of heaps of them back. Well, no, I'm going to make it. Done. And then let them buy it.
That's a hard one as well.
Not for them.
Surveys are hard too. When's the last time you did a survey that you weren't expecting?
I don't mind a survey. Surveys are there to be surveyed.
Yeah, you're a surveyor.
I don't want a survey. If someone says I'm just doing a survey, I'm like, okay, go nuts. You need the information.
Yeah, fair.
No else you can get it.
Okay. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I haven't done one that I didn't expect for a long time, and because maybe it's just me. I don't know if there's like other people out there that like just don't enjoy doing surveys, but I found with the ones that I've done,
so many people don't, and they don't like the privacy. Like half the time, if the phone ones, they must hate doing the phone ones because so many people just hang up and expect them to have a thing at the end of it. We don't want anything. It's just a survey. I'm like, done. Okay. Walk away. Go for your life. Unless I'm in the middle of something with Oliver or I can't do it. I'm like, and I apologize. Like, I'm just not going to be able to do it, but I would. Or I think it was one time it was just like, I'm just changing my son. Call me back in 10, and they did. And they did the survey sometime. So
okay.
But anyway, we're off topic. Go back to the topic.
No. Like it's a valid thing to think about. Like people want to do stuff like figure out how to know if people will buy the thing that they're doing. Like it's an important signal, and I don't think that. And I can see from all the evidence through all the vendors, like all the people who do creative stuff who are in like that either new first game or they're not quite at that like they can afford to run their own print runs and stuff like that for the games they've already got. There's got to be a way for them to figure out, like, if I have, say, 10,000, say, Instagram followers, because that's like the big Instagram, Facebook, there's a social media presence that you have. How many of those are going to be like not just following me because they like, oh, I do games, I'll follow it because I like games, or I just follows back to build presence for myself. Like, there's a whole lot of things that go into social media. Like, where's that translation of following community to people buying the game? Because it can't be one-to-one. Otherwise, a lot of the studios that are out there would have had a bunch more backers for their Kickstarter campaigns because everyone advertises. Why would you not tell people you're doing that? So I think surveys are okay for that. Kickstarter is obviously a very good one because money where their mouth is. There's a massive audience there too, and there's validity there. I just don't see many other ways to do it. Like, publishing houses, I think, is probably the next big thing. Go to publisher, or like, you either sell your idea, nothing more than the idea and the function of how the game works, to a publishing company. They bring that board game to life. Or you make a prototype, you make a thing, and you give them everything, or work with them, and then they build it up together, and the agreement's there as well. But if you're wanting to do something truly indie,
that's what I'm sort of half hoping for my thing, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'll just, like I said, travel my path and see if I can forge it.
That's it. I think the options is there's no really good options, which is what if you're not wanting to go down those, like, walk with and then someone else is taking their cut, whatever that contract or whatever the percentages look like and all that, you have a lot less, I guess, freedom of control for that. Some people might like that, some people don't, and they want to stay indie and they want to stay to themselves, so they're not running someone else's race, and that's fine. Like, I feel like either way, whatever works for you. There's no right answer, wrong answer. They both can be successful. It's just how well you do it and how well it's done.
Exactly.
But there's that conversion of, like, moving into, like, Kickstarter, getting the big people in there. Like, we were talking to a previous guest about things like Dark Souls getting a board game, those big ones. And I'm not a fan of that either. Like, that will sell. That will sell. I can guarantee you that will sell. They put it onto their normal social feeds. They put it into the game places they have. That game will sell like hotcakes because it's a massively well-known thing, and it takes over that front space. Like, I had someone compare it to, like, the Amazons and the Etsy's of the world, where, like, oh yeah, they will push the things that are funding the most, the things that are making that business, so Kickstarter, GameFound, whoever they are, the most money, they're going to be at the top. And for a business perspective, that makes perfect sense. They want their big breadwinners at the front. They want to be making as much money as they can. We live in a capitalist society that wants to do that. All that makes sense. But then the back end of it is there's no real discoverability. And trust me, I have been trolling through Kickstarters and that with, like, different social medias, people advertising, sending us stuff about it. I've seen it. There is not a lot there. It's not great. So there's, like, you're scrambling for the top when you get outside of crowdfunding to go to, like, a publisher to pick you up, these other web spaces, wherever else. And it's just, if you're not at the top, you're at the bottom. There's two spots.
Exactly.
That's what it feels like. And then there's all the issues with the online platform, like this costing issue. There's just so many things that just, like, for me, if I was going to be a creative, and, like, I do creative stuff in D&D, but nothing like a whole game, I don't even know what I would do. And I've spent the better part of a year, like, working with people who are trying to solve this problem. No good answer yet. I have no good answer. I'm hoping to build one.
That's not the reason why I'm sort of, like, balking at doing a Kickstarter, because I'm not going to be at the top. I'm going to be right at the bottom, and that's not where you be to try and get your stuff made. So
there is another.
I've made my stuff. I have my stuff. It exists in the real world, which means I can go and show people, and that's where I'm going to go.
Yeah. There's another thing that I don't know if is newer in the crowdfunding space. I know Kickstarter have done it a little bit, but I'm not sure if GameFound have the same sort of ideas with how to push the bottom end up. So to get people from, look, if I'm looking at Kickstarter, I see probably 8 to 10 tiles on when I go to the page, and that's the 8 to 10 biggest ones across all their genres, whatever they've got going there. I'll probably see 1 or 2 games. That's it. Unless I go and I'm like a person who wants to go venturing, looking for new stuff, how do I even start doing that? I have to go, like, I'll just scroll through stuff, which is the same thing. It starts from the top down.
Yeah, or have an idea of at least the genre you want to try and look at. So you, at least your focus can then go over to this section of Kickstarter and ignore this part of Kickstarter.
Which they allow you to
There's been
do.
a couple that I've backed that have been so random. Like I don't even know how I managed to stumble across it, but they were great. Like I've always been a big fan of like photography and without sounding weird, nude photography. I think it can be a beautiful medium for nice photographs, not just sleazy stuff, but the really nice, flowers and the filigree
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah,
and
yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. It can look amazing.
Like
You don't
drawing and
replicate
cooking
the
it. Yeah.
Renaissance paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Gorgeous
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
And there was a Kickstarter for one of the most popular female nude photographers from Playboy in the 60s, 70s, I think it was,
Oh wow.
and early
Okay.
80s. And just combining her stuff into a nice book. And I could only get the PDF version because I can't afford the shipping and the physical book because they're expensive as fuck. But at least I got the PDF, and it's gorgeous. But that was a random thing. And then her daughter, who followed in her mother's footsteps, also put out a book. And only because I had that book did I learn about the other one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have found it. It would have been tucked away in the back of nothing. No one would have known to look into, okay, Kickstarter photography.
Yeah. And then like,
Where
and that's as far as you
would you have
get.
found that?
That's as far as they,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, how far they let you look. But like photography as a broad thing, you can look at like nothing to do with the actual campaigns themselves. Like none of the actual content in there. It's not like, oh, it's about this style of photography or that. It's about the campaign itself. Like how successful the campaign's doing. Not what it's about. It's about the campaign. That's what's there. That's what's making them their millions of dollars, billions of dollars every year. That's how they make their money. So I understand why they do it. It just sucks for the little guy. I wish it's a thing that I heard because I was I had a friend talk to me about like flipping through just random subreddit pages. Like we were back at uni.
Yeah.
It would just be like two very broke uni students and we'd sit around and just look for weird and wonderful things on the internet by just clicking on the random it's like Wikipedia, it's like Reddit. I'm sure there's so many other sites have like just let me go to a random thing. Man, Cyanide and Happiness, the old webcomic cartoon, you could do that still to this day. As far as the last time I went there, which was admittedly last year, random button right there so I can go and find weirds and wonderfuls. Because going through their entire archive, everything they've got, it's you either have a lot of time or you have to kind of remember where you are. But random, just give me something random. I want this genre, give me a random thing. And just let them do that. That would be worlds of difference to just for people who want to do that. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there's things, but there's probably a plugin or something that the people do it. I don't know. There's stuff out there for everything. So maybe there is. I'm not really sure, but it's like jumping through hoops to get something that really helps out the people, like that 95+% of people that are in these crowdfunding spaces. And like I could sit here for hours, and I have done because I've done a handful of these episodes, talking about like the problems with like crowdfunding when it has all these other things coming into it as well. The other one that I see a lot is people, they know what their costing is and what their sort of goalpost is for their campaign, and then they chop that down by, I don't know, 60, 80%, so that they can have that funded in super short time. And like that's their good news story. That's the other half of like the get to the top of the mountain kind of mentality and like the search algorithm that is through like these crowdfunding campaigns. If I put something that's, if I have a box game, it's worth $30, and
isn't that kind of risky?
It can be. It can be.
Yeah, because like if you go, okay, this is 20% of what I'm aiming for. Oh, we're funded, but the entire funding is only actually 50% of what you're trying to get. Then you've got to finalize it and get it fulfilled at your own expense.
Yeah. There is some risks around it. I'm sure there is like a formula for doing it well. I have no idea what it is. I'm not that kind of risk assessment kind of personality or person at all, but that is the story that we hear. And I have seen a handful of them myself where they have beautiful games, like proper full-fledged out games with minis and everything, and they have, I would say, maybe 10 to 15 units worth of cost and everything that goes into that for their campaign goal. Now, whether that's something that they just like, this is all we expect to actually fund because were a nobody, or they put themselves so low down so it's impossible for them to not be funded really quickly with the community that they have. So they have that good news story, and they pump up in not in the most successful Kickstarters, but those that are funded really early. That kind of success. So it's not a dollar value. It's we did it. We got 100%. We're done. We're funded, but we still got time to go, so we can give you more stuff. That's the other half of it, which is, like you said, there's a lot of risk in there to start with. Let alone, like, again, it's another scramble to the top. So the people who are at the bottom are still not, rather than going for the big money, they're just scrambling for that good news, that win. And there's not a lot that they can do. That, like, if I did everything, I'm gonna say not properly, but if I put out and said a realistic, didn't make any alterations, like this is what I want, I'm at a detriment. I can be.
Yeah.
So you know the indies are shooting themselves in the foot.
Loath to do a Kickstarter, because if you do it properly, you're at a detriment. You've got to be able to play a game that has risk. I'm very risk adverse for that sort of stuff. If I can't get it correct and at very little risk to myself, if preferably none, and that's fabulous. If there's any risk that's decently risky, why would you go through the headache?
You talk about like it as and you mentioned before, like single father, a child with special needs, like that's a very strict. Like you have to be really strict.
I just did redid my budget to work out what I've got to do moving forward after I get back from my little holiday with Oliver.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. It's totally doable, but I have got to be strict.
Yeah, and I imagine like I see a lot of younger people who they aren't those established careers, like lifelong career people that want to just do their hobby. Because now I'm like 40 plus, done this for 20 years, can afford to throw some change at it. Like they're in that same boat as well, and I don't know whether the experience hasn't taught them about that risk or whether they're just willing to take it on. I can't speak to any of it, but like they're doing that now, and I'm like, I just have that same. Like for me, I've gone a little bit through a couple of years myself where I've had some risky stuff to look at. This has obviously been a massive risk for myself as well. I'm a single carer for a person with a disability, so like for me, it's a big piece as well. I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could make that decision at that age, like at that experience level as well. And they just throw themselves in there. I just don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I can't wait to speak to one of them and be like, "What made you do that?"
I don't know.
It's a wild, man, a wild time. But look, Kickstarter is its own space. There's beautiful things that it does, and then there are the shortcomings that do make it difficult to really find your success. If you're sitting in that middle ground. Like I said, I kind of feel like there's a top, there's a bottom, not much in between. Apparently, there's a lot of like people transition from social media to like Kickstarter links directly, and that's the only way people will find their stuff. Because there's not discoverability for it, which is awful. It is, it really is. But that's just the shape of it, I guess. I would talk about some of the solutions and that we've been looking at to try and have something to solve that baked into our website, but Hayden will probably smack me for that because I don't want to make not that we want to make promises we can't keep, but there's a lot of things that I think would be really exciting that I would hate to be able to turn around in like maybe 6 months a year and be like, we can't do that. Not because it's like, it's not business viable. The only thing I think that will throw us away from doing the things that I've spitballed around and that is really a technical limitation, is it's not. It's entirely different to anything that we've seen in other online marketplaces. And I can't take much of the credit because Hayden is really the brains behind it. And it's very exciting if we can get it working. But yeah, I want to tease you a little bit about that one, but maybe we can chat about it offline sometime. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So the costing for coming into this space is, I don't know, how did you get to where you are with figuring out how much it's going to cost you? And do you still feel like you're not quite there? You mentioned a couple of times you wouldn't even be sure what to do with a Kickstarter campaign. But if I came to you today and said, hey, I want to put together a board game, like I want to put together a board game myself, I don't want to crowdfund, I want to make something. Do you reckon you have a good handle on what that looks like as costing? Or like how that works and how easy that was to get?
Kind of. Kind of.
kind of.
There was a couple of, because when I was exploring it, I wanted to find places that could do small runs because I couldn't afford a lot. So I had to
Very fair.
find it. All the game places that were like minimum order 500. It's not going to happen. I
Yeah.
needed a place I could do minimum order of like 20, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though it was slightly more expensive to do so, at least they could pull it off. And then I could get the samples, which I took up to the last tabletop con and sold out of, which was great.
Yeah.
Um, so so I did a lot of exploring and homework and stuff and found I narrowed it down to 3.
Mhm.
And as I was chatting back and forth, one of them popped up and went, "Oh, hey, if you wait a month and or I think it was like 2 months, it was just dumb luck timing. They launched the first, and I'm pretty sure they're the only at this point, first ever print on demand board game. So you uploaded all the files. And when someone bought the game, you didn't have to stock it. They just went through and like the box printers would print the box. Someone else would print the pieces and blah, 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 and the booklet, and they'd ship them all together, come back, put them in, wrap it, send it off, job done. So fabulous. That works for me.
Mm.
You don't make a lot of it, but I still do make $5 a game, which is not horrible.
It's
I just
not
need
bad.
to sell them to do so. So I've made $10 so far, which is all right. It means without advertising, I've sold 2 games. Good to go. And that was from Tabletop Con. So this time around, I'm going to be setting up a Tabletop Con. I don't have any stock to sell. I've only got my samples. So I'll play through the samples, have a QR code on either side. People can go click, buy it. With any luck, that should work. Because I was curious when I was asking Josh, is it worth me going if I don't have anything to actually sell? But I have a sample and I could get people to buy it online. And he was like, yeah, it's actually the space for exactly that.
Yeah.
If you don't have stock, you can do that. I'm like, well, okay,
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's great for
So
people there too. They don't have to lug it around
yeah,
either. And it's not like your game is like a massive heavy box with lots of little pieces, but I could buy it and it's shipped to my home and I don't have to lug it back on a plane. Like that, for me who
exactly.
has to
So I'll give
travel
that
to
a whirl
most of
and
these things. Sweet.
hopefully that'll start kicking a few things away. So
Mm.
that's my next step. But if you need to do a board game, yeah, you've got to just do your homework and find the right fit for you. There was another company, and I lost the guy's card. I'm so frustrated. It was at PAX 2023 when I went with you guys. I wasn't there last year for 24. If you're going this year in 2025, if you can find this dude, get his card for me.
You have to tell me who it is, what
But
he looks like, and I'll absolutely keep an eye out.
yeah, I don't know what he looks like, but the company was Game Crafter.
Game Crafter.
Hero.
Oh yeah.
Hero. I think it was Game Crafter. Hang on.
They have I think they're US based and they are actually quite large over there. I don't
No,
know
Game Land.
Game
Game
Land.
Land. Yeah,
Okay.
Game Land. Yeah, Game Crafter is actually who I use for my actual game. So Game
Oh
Crafter is
yeah,
great.
yeah. They're massive in
But Game
in the
Land
space,
had
yeah.
a thing there, and the guy looked at my game. He told me about how to tweak the board look, which was a good idea. I made it my own style now, so it's less a Monopoly board and more me. So even if they look at it and go, it's a bit Monopoly-like, it isn't anymore.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
yeah, because he said, look, your chances are stunningly tiny that anyone's going to give a shit. But if they do, they could do. And I'm like, never even thought of that. That entire idea of just the look of the board could be a thing. Because so many people out there have just straight around the edges board game.
Yep.
But
Yep.
if it's my game and it's based on drinking, I can have it go a bit fucking wobbly depending on how drunk you get to get back to the end. So I did.
Yeah. Why not?
But yeah, the Game Land guy was really good. He was like, this is a good game. We could manufacture for maybe 12, $15 a box and it would retail for 50. And I was like, well, that's good. That's better than the current one because it retails for 50, like normal. But they make it for 45. So I make $5 or 40 and they might take 5 and I take 5, one of the two. So yeah, so it's less ideal, but at least my thing exists in the real world. People can buy it and it's there. So then my next scare is to try and get the contact from the Game Land guy, so I can contact him in his Melbourne office and get the ball rolling. So hopefully they can actually come to the game and I can get this thing made more cheaply.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never even heard of the Game Land. I'll have to do some looking myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in amongst all the independent people, and they were, those little tiny. It was basically a table, a chair on either side, and a banner beside them. That was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a big booth or a small booth. It wasn't even a booth. It was just a table, and they're in the middle somewhere. It was blinking, you miss him. But I stumbled across it, and I was like, I wonder what they do. then someone told me he's a game manufacturer guy. I was like, oh, and the light bulb went on. I put my copy of the game out, ran over, and went. He was never there because no one gives a shit. Very few people want to make their game. He was always wandering around. So I left a note. Please give me a call when you're here. I'll come and see you.
Yeah,
And it was good. So he gave me good pointers and he gave me a good idea. So I want to revisit that shit when I get the chance.
man, I can
So yeah,
feel on the fact
if you
that
have a game, do your homework and you'll find a fit that fits you.
yeah, yeah.
But I highly recommend GameCrafter. You print on demand. It's not ideal, but at least your game exists and you get something out of it.
It's something so you can get the ball rolling, so you can move to the next space. So if you like make enough to get to that 500,
yeah, exactly.
Mark,
Yes, it might be a small ball, but at least it's a ball and it rolls.
That's it. That's it. Kickstarter, like these sort of things, like I don't know. It's hard to sort of give someone, and this is one of those problems I think we've been trying to not solve, but when we initially pitched this idea, when I initially pitched this idea for like a conversational style podcast or education piece, whatever we want to call this, like try to solve that problem. Is like, how do people get out there? It's like, well, there isn't one answer. There isn't one way to do it right, one way to do it wrong. It's kind of just like what you have access to.
The only way to do it right is to do your homework and explore all your options before you find one that fits. That's all there is.
And like having some runway for yourself.
That's it.
The ability to keep doing it even when things don't go perfect as well. You don't sort of like shoehorn yourself into a hole you can't get yourself out of, whether it's financially, whether it's motivation wise, whether it's like maybe the community gets burnt that you build up. Like you have to sort of put yourself in a position where you can keep picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and throwing yourself right back in the dirt just to get it done. There's
That's right.
resilience.
My original idea to get my samples made up was I didn't even know about Tabletop Con. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew I needed to get some samples to probably show people and what it was all about. I had no idea where it was going to go, but I needed that to happen. And I couldn't spend a lot of money, so I needed to have a small run. So I found the people that could do it. And by dumb luck, stumbled across people who could do it for literally nothing.
Yeah.
So that was great. But it was after I bought the samples. And of course, the cost of print on demand stuff has come down a little bit since then. So if I did it now, I could probably buy at least 3 to 4 times the amount of games that I had back then. But it's just all timing. So I was there at the time. I got what I needed. Fine. I can get more if I wanted it now. I don't need to because it's online. Done.
There's as part of the growth for me personally, not like professionally, personally, and that with this new venture is looking at how things build in themselves. So like having they call it an atomic network, which is the smallest amount of people, users, things to go with the product. So like this game crafter print on demand. So even though you were a great instigator for that, like you probably would have been one of their first ones. If they were telling you they were launching it in a month or so, you might have been one of their first print runs for it. But the fact is that you started that and you helped create that so that it could be cheaper, not just for other creators, but you can come back now and it's cheaper for you. Like you've made that environment, you've helped build that network so that it can thrive and be a success story. So like that's an amazing piece. Like that's phenomenal.
All right.
You're right. Like that's phenomenal. I think that's another part of those that's another part that Kickstarter.
I'm going to go with no background for a second because I think the blurry background thing was what was screwing up from before.
Okay.
So this week at least. So yeah, this is a print on demand game. So boom. So it's not going invisible anymore. So like the box is nice. Opens up. Lovely.
Yep.
The board looks schmick.
Oh yeah, it does.
That's nice. Folds. The booklet, a little smaller than I'd like, but it's okay because my rules are very simple. So that's all you need. It's a very tiny little book. So that's all good. And the cards, like poker chips, I would have preferred to have custom ones with my logo on it, but you know,
little
they're
chips.
serviceable.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of those. The cards themselves, yoink. These are the property cards.
Yep.
All the stuff on the back. So it's completely fine as a print-on-demand thing. And all the little pieces which came out. Where is he? There we are. Barry Beer. Ta-da!
Yep.
So that's quite a nice
Yeah.
little character. I was just going to go with like cutouts off the back of the book, but they could do little sticky standees, and it looks
Fantastic.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Killer. Yeah,
That's
and
okay for a print on demand. I'm happy with that.
it's like something you build on. Like you talked about, like poker chips being serviceable, the new board. You want to do different. Like I imagine, oh, we talked about this before. The little printed, like little beer mugs and stuff for it. To have like a little Barry beer, Wendy wine. I think it's Gary gin.
Yeah, the
Or
3D printed stuff would be fabulous. I've got the
yeah.
STLs. I can do that. And that, again, that was a dumb luck find as well,
Mm,
because getting
mm.
STLs made up is horribly expensive. But I stumbled across a random couple of dudes on Facebook. I couldn't even tell if they still existed. I'm sure they're in India somewhere, but they were able to do just from a standard like flat image. Basically, if I go back to my little background, give me a second. Boom. All right, so just from that picture alone, they were able to pull off exact 3D characters that look almost exactly like what I've drawn in 3D. They're perfect. And they cost me, instead of being like over $100 per STL, which is what they would regularly cost, I think I got $25 each.
That's
So
great.
I've got all 9 of my characters for probably less than the cost of 2.
Yeah.
So if I do find a manufacturer who could for cheaper and can squeeze out some STLs, maybe if I do a Kickstarter, that could be a stretch goal, go from the little token to the 3D
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be nice. And I can now do that.
Yep. Yeah. And it's that little incremental growth. So you're not like throwing it all into one basket and then being like, oh man, this better go well. Otherwise, XYZ, we can't make this, we can't do that, or this doesn't work. Like it's good,
Yeah, exactly.
smart ways to go
So
forward.
if I do manage to go down that road, I need someone who's good with numbers to really work on a budget for me. Because if it's possible, I still want to try a Kickstarter
Mm.
for that reason. I think that'd be nice. Because in my perfect world, like everything in there is like a regular game. It's board game. It's cardboard, board, blah blah blah. But it's a drinking game. In my ideal world, everything would be waterproof.
Yeah. Yeah, most
Cards would be
definitely.
plastic. The board would be neoprene and washable. That's why I went with poker chips instead of paper money, because they're washable.
Yeah.
At least they are plastic, and the characters are plastic. So the only thing that wouldn't probably, well, they survive a little bit, but not as well, is the board and the cards. If I
Mm.
could get plastic cards and neoprene board, there we go. That's my game.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine we talked about the first time I think we talked about it is you wanted to do it like you say the neoprene, but get the black border like the bar mats for like beer companies and stuff like that. The
Formats, yeah.
promotion. Yeah,
Isn't that neoprene?
it is. Yeah, yeah. But
Maybe it's not.
just as long as you get the bordering right, like you got to get like the little pieces around what they put on those beer mats, like the rubber edges.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
rubber
not just
back.
like a sewn board, like the proper rubber edges for the feet, so it looks like a bar mat. You amazing. It would be phenomenal. But whether they could do that part, whether they would just stitch the endings up, that would be something you have to work on. But that there, massively big thing for theming. It's like then you could have people with like their
Exactly.
home bars as well. I can imagine that. Just like it's rolled out there. It's like, hey, you boys want a game after like a couple of beers before we go to an event or whatever. Play a quick game on the table, the bar top. Killer, man. Killer.
Yeah,
Great story.
that's exactly right. So that's my plan. So maybe, and as well, if you can find those Gameland dudes, I, I think they might have that option, but I just know it's not available on print on demand because it ain't cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it. I think they have the option, but it'd blow the cost of the game out. Nothing else would be affordable.
Mm.
Whereas Gameland could do, not Gameland, yeah, Gameland could possibly do that for.
Shopping around, finding the right place. But that sounds like a lesson learned, which is a perfect segue into our final little question that we like to ask everybody. We'll try to anyway. Sorry, Chris.
What a good segue.
So, 22 years of the issue, mate. Well, okay. Let's say a year and a half of going to events. Was it 10 years of like Barry Beer, creating board games, everything like that. Go back to day one of that creative journey when you decided you wanted to make a board game, and you could put one piece of knowledge into your brain from that day, well, from today to then. What would it be?
I suppose the easiest answer would be to have avoided the original look of the board, because even though it was a simple round the edge of the board roll and move game,
Yeah.
I didn't make it my own look. I just went for the standard. There it is. It's straight. Job done. Whereas if it is your game and you are planning on making a game like this, that's a roll and move type thing. Think outside of that literal box. It doesn't have to be straight edged. It can be whatever the fuck you want. If it goes with the theme of your game. If it's set in a field, make it wind through the valleys in a nice, gentle, rolling motion. Fabulous. It's still the same gameplay going around the edge of the board. It'll just look different. Whereas me, I made it a little bit more difficult the more drunk you got, but it didn't have to be that way. That's the only thing I can think of that I would tell myself from then that I knew now.
Okay.
Other than that, the journey I took has been pretty standard. Like I did the research, did the exploration, found the people that could have fitted best for me, landed on 2, one of which worked well because they turned out to be print on demand. And the other one, I need to contact again and try and have a go at round 2. So I don't think I'd change too much, but for that, everything else worked pretty well. And I think it's only because I took so long to pull it off. Like I started designing it years before, and then it sat on the backboard in a burner when I couldn't do anything about it. And then when I got made redundant and had some time to myself and got encouraged to use that time for myself, because that doesn't happen very often, I went, well, fuck it. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that.
Okay. You did say it, but I can't help but not point it out. I think one of the things that I've heard you say a bunch of times through today is just taking the opportunities that you get with the people that you meet. I think leaving stones unturned is one of those things that I don't know whether is something that people do, everyone does, but I think when it comes to things like trying to, and I say making the dream come true, but it really is, like, if you are here to make a game that people love and play, like, that's the dream. Like that, if you get to that, that's the dream. Like, don't let things
exactly. Like at the moment, I know there are stones I've left unturned, but that's because I haven't had a chance to turn them, and now I know what those stones are. I'm hoping to find the time to go and turn them.
Yep. Leaving doors open. Well, no, it's not even that. It's not leaving them open. It's like, even if you don't open that door, you don't leave it behind. It stays with you, and you take that opportunity either when you can physically make that time, financially make that time, or even just like you have the capability to do so. Like, there's always like the people that you meet, you never know where they're going to be, and just like you don't know where you're going to be. So leaving that there to do whatever it does and come back to it in 5 years, 10 years. Maybe we'll be talking about this in 5 years from now, mate. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And like, I think that's really...
Basically, you've got to make a map of all the things that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Even if it's just in your head. Because you won't get a chance to explore it all straight up. Life will have to go on with you as part of it, doing what you're doing. Unless you are, rich as fuck, not working at all, and are able to explore a whole bunch of different things. You're going to have bills to pay, rent, mortgages, partners, children, shitloads of other things that will always take up your time and have to, because that's the nature of how it all works. But if you do want to give your thing a whirl, you've got to make the map. You've got to, explore what you left unexplored when you can explore it down the road. But you've got to remember where they were. So that's where your map comes in. It's not necessarily a map of where you want to be. Like, I'm here and I want to be rich at this point, or want the game to be doing well. It's just, okay, there's thinking about where you want to go. Like I know I have to try and approach the party shops and the Dan Murphys and all those bits and pieces, which I haven't done. And I know that they're there. I've just moved up to here because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to have a chance to backtrack and try and knock on those doors, because those doors are the ones that are going to possibly open.
Yep. Look, I 100% agree. Yeah. I don't know whether it's an experience thing or a wisdom, or maybe we're just a bunch of old codgers, mate, that have made too many mistakes. You never know. But I feel like it's the same way. And like, whether you do that with this game or whether you just sort of like do run that race, I think there's always people you can't give that 100% to, no matter how fast or slow you're going through this process. So I guess don't discount anyone that you don't have the time for right now. I think that's probably that's an important piece to go for. I think that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is like if people, and I said this last segment, but I'm gonna keep rambling anyway because it's something that I really enjoy about what we do. What I get to do now is I get to go through Kickstarter events and stuff and see people who aren't quite there yet. And the joy filling part for me is being like, ooh, I get to save that book, back that up, and I get to check it out in like 5 months, 6 months, a year. And I get to see where it's at. Even for those that are with us and or people who are getting like more and more successful, more games out, I'm like just going back and just being like, they're doing great. Like even if it's not through up because of us, or like I just like seeing that creative, like the creative succeed in there. Like I have friends who are artists and that I've never been able to afford to buy a lot of their pieces because if they're, if they're beautiful prints or the beautiful original works, they are, 4 figures and usually start with a 5 or 6 because they are unequivocally gorgeous. Like I would if I could, but like I can't. I haven't been able to at this point in my life yet. But seeing the success there, I'm there, shaking them on the hand, patting them on the back, giving them a beer and be like, oh man, that's fantastic. I'm there for that success. And I think that's one of the big things that I really love about what I get to do here is even if it's not because of me, just seeing creatives get out there and rattling cages, making new shit that no one's doing. That's that excites me, man. It really does. You guys call me the Energizer Bunny.
If they don't succeed. If they at least stay the course.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. There's an artist that I've listened to for a handful of years, and it is in like hip hop and rap, and that leaves to some connotations, but it stick with me. It's a bit between like a little sketch piece in between a couple of tracks, and it's no one really understands what the hell they're doing most of the time, but those that succeed are just those that keep doing it. And that comes from a modern 2000s poet. But it is that you don't have to. It doesn't have to cost you everything all at once. You can just keep going, as long as you've got the drive
exactly.
to do it.
Like
that's fine.
So many people that
You're right. From the top.
There you go. I agree because there were so many people that I used to hang out with back in the day. Supernova, fellow comic creators.
Yeah.
I think one of them is still going, and he's actually no two. There were two that are still going, and they haven't got anything new. They just kind of like they were popular at the time, and then they managed to get. One of them was big enough in his heyday in the 80s that his name is, kind of synonymous with in Aussie indie comics, and that's fine. It's like recreating and reprinting and redoing new stuff and finding some new artists to give it a new role. So that's cool. And the other guy, he was super popular in the 90s, early 2000s actually, and was great. But again, he just got his name out there and he became a guy that everybody knew.
Yeah,
he hasn't done anything new for years. But everyone else I've ever met has kind of disappeared or just folded up and just gone. With one single exception, a friend of mine I keep in contact with, her name's Tanya Nichols, Storm Publishing. She's visually impaired, can barely save her life, but draws, or used to anyway, a little bit less these days. She's more of a writer and types in so big a font, it's insane. But she draw like this. But she had at least 3 or 4 independent comics. She could pencil and ink so fast, it was insane. I remember one year that they did the Queen's birthday 24-hour comic book challenge. I don't know. Yeah. And her and a couple of other friends of us, we all had the weekend together and we drew some shit. She was the only person to have done in the entire history of that thing all 24 pages, penciled and inked, plus a cover, and have a coherent theme and plot to the story, to actually have a story, not just rambling, superhero going for a coffee and being stopped by some other, random cafe-based thing, because that's all you can think of right now, because you're in the middle of a cafe trying to draw. Like most people only get maybe a dozen pages, and they're kind of scratchy and stuff, but she was able to do a polished and finished comic in an entire 24. Actually, it only took her 12 hours, to be honest. She actually went to bed after she'd finished the whole fucking thing. And she didn't win it. But she's still around now, and she's got like at least 3 dozen or 4 dozen novels under her belt, all of those backstory comics. It's idiotically prolific and just refuses to fucking stop. But she doesn't know how to market the shit out of herself. That's her only drawback.
Yeah.
If she could market, she'd be fucking nailed that.
You should send does she have like a link? Can we chuck it in the show notes, man? Because like I'm interested. Like
yeah, damn straight. I'll send you the link when you're editing this together.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's publishing.net.
Fantastic.
However, I must warn everybody that the website itself has suffered from not being updated since the mid 2000s and looks stunningly dated, but the stuff is there. I'll probably just send a link to her Amazon pages, and like because she's got stuff on Amazon and Kindle you can buy straight up, get it shipped to yourself instead of off their website. It looks much nicer because it's an Amazon website. But
yeah, exactly.
She is quite good.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be Tanya Nichols. That's great. Yeah, I think I'd love to do that. Yeah, just to give a shout out to someone who does some fantastic work.
Yeah,
always keep that. And
yeah, she does really good work, like really good stories. They're engaging. The only thing she suffers from is not having an editor to give it a quick once over at the end, because she's the only writer editor of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, people who have bought the stuff and read it thoroughly enjoyed it. The
great
inconsistencies or not being quite 100% perfect, it's like 97%. So that's close enough, I think.
Look, I'm happy with 97.
I think her biggest detractors are people in America who don't get Australian slang, not slang, but Australian terms and things like that.
Yeah, the Australianisms that come through.
Like, well, I'm in Australia, I'm going to write with Australian terms.
Yeah,
get used to it. It's not difficult. She doesn't go full on bogan and use slang all the time. But some words are not going to make a translation unless you look it up.
Yeah,
suck it up.
That's it. Yeah, it's just how we refer to things. Like there's language differences, and it's not the structure of English. Exactly. It's just our flavor.
Not everything has to go from philosopher's stone to sorcerer's stone just because you don't understand it.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Big fan of Ken, and she's still plugging away. I helped to do some covers for a Nocturnal Academy series. She's up to the Nocturnal University now. She was writing all that crap before Harry Potter, and it's all about a university where it is magic, but it's not a Harry Potter, because it's basically where if you're going to become a supernatural creature like a werewolf, a vampire, or a ghost, that's where you go to learn about how to utilize and develop your innate powers and do things, as well as learn magic and shit like that. So it's a little bit more intricate than just the Harry Potter wizarding world thing.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Not to say that's terrible. Like, it's making billions of dollars. Obviously, it's doing something
very well. Yeah.
Correctly.
Yeah.
Well. But plenty of stuff is actually pretty good, and it shouldn't be held up to the same magnifying glass, I suppose, because it's a slightly different animal.
It's so different as well. Just being indie in itself, like
exactly.
We were talking.
It's great.
We will get to the end of this one, I swear, but it's just going to keep going, unfortunately.
Let's go.
We talked about it at the start, and Tony was talking about not like the quality stuff not being perfect and like wanting to move things around. It's like it's not really about that. Like, it's the quality of what we actually are talking about, because that's majority of what this is. Like, we're here to have a conversation. We're not putting on a physical comedy show or anything like that. We're here to just talk. Hopefully, tickle the right part of somebody's brain, and they might be inspired to do something or change something or learn something from it. So
exactly. Like, I remember when I met that Gameland. He took a look at my game and said, "This is an 80% spectacularly put together independent game. If you want to throw money at someone to push it at 20%, it'll go very well." And I'm like, nope, I don't have the money. If it's 80% good, that's good. That's not a fail. That's like more than 50%. That's a high pass. That's a B+ or A- in my book. Bucket. I'm good to go.
And that last 20% probably cost you more than the 80%
you
put
exactly. in. If it starts kicking along nicely enough, then I'll throw some money at it then.
Sure.
Polish it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for now, I'm happy with the unpolished gem.
Yeah, It should be. Like, I haven't had a chance to play because you only had a couple of copies and it would not have survived my first trip. I have become more educated. As you saw at CanCon, I brought a whole bag for all the treats and wonderful things that I want to bring home for myself.
Well, when we're up at Tabletop Con, I'll be literally have nothing to sell and only have my display copies. Feel free to have a play.
I will absolutely do that, and I'll probably end up buying one anyway because I know plenty of my friends who will enjoy it. And another drinking
If
game.
you want to do it now, please scan that code.
I don't know if my phone will pick it up across there, but look, I'll try it on the recording when I edit it out later. All right, before we wrap up, any shout outs you want to give? I mean, we've already given a couple of friends and guys from Dragon Dice. Is there anyone else you wanted to just say hi, shout out to?
Not really. Like anyone else I know who's creative, like I said, has basically packed up their bags and vanished into the ether. And most of them don't even talk too much anymore. Yeah, I'm happy with just Josh. Get some Dragon Dice. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Storm Publishing. Tanya, you want to read a book? Go buy her shit. It's really good stuff. But more importantly, if you want to buy a game or some beer-related merchandise,
over there.
And this code just here.
We'll have a link, that exact link, wherever it goes. We'll chuck it into the show notes as well, mate, just so we can make sure people get across there.
I'm pretty sure that's just the link to my the main part of my webpage. So it's got links to everywhere. Right off the top is both links to both pub crawl and drinks run. If you want to get a drinking game or a non-drinking game, I'll quickly pull up drinks run while I'm here. You may as well.
Oh yeah, we done the thing.
Oh, that's right. The stupid thing.
No,
the stupid things on. Hang on.
It's all right.
Background off. Right. That one. Drinks run. Here we go. So it's the exact same pretense and gameplay, but in a family-friendly version.
Gamecrafter printed as well.
What's that?
Was that printed by Gamecrafter as well?
Oh yeah. These are all great.
Well done. Yeah.
They're print on demand.
Oh yeah.
They all go.
Oh yeah. I see the bubble tea and everything there. Yeah, it looks great, dude.
Replacing Barry Beer is Barry Bubble Tea. That's the family-friendly version with Wendy Water instead of Wendy Wine.
Oh yeah. There
you go.
Amazing, dude. That looks great. Yeah.
And Harry Hot Chocolate instead of Jerry Gin.
Yep.
And of course, since my son's name is Oliver, I had to add Oliver orange juice. Right,
I was gonna say, yeah. I was actually gonna ask whether you chucked Ollie in there as well, because orange juice. I can't think of anything else with O in there, but I'm sure there's
struggling to come up with names. And Mum was an orange juice. I was like, Oliver.
Yeah, easiest knockover you had.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, awesome.
What else did I put in there?
Well, good. Well, we'll be doing this, I hope, for a little bit while still. So if we might do a circle around to you again, and maybe check in. Oh, God knows when. See how you're doing with it, man. I know you and I will keep in touch, no doubt. But, you know, the people at home, they also need to know what's going on in your life, bud. Especially when it comes to the Barry the Beer and any other venture. Like I'm excited to see the merch stuff. Like the additionals is that's where I'm gonna be like keeping an eye out for you, because like the bar mats and stuff, I love that. Coasters, glasses.
That's the thing. Like I came up with a lot of designs for the t-shirts, merch and stuff. You can get them on Redbubble, and again, there's links on my website for that.
Yep.
Up there. It's good. It's just fun stuff. Like, you know, there's the whole, you know, sanity loading, and I've done one for pretty much every type of alcohol, wine, spirits, blah blah blah. The winged angelic alcohol little icons. Where'd that shirt go?
What I like is like you could also do stuff for it in the safer workspace, like coffee as well, coffee, tea, like those things that people basically call the nectar of life, but for the safer side of their life. Yeah.
On the fence whether I do fully commit to the same thing for coffee and tea. I probably shouldn't I? I now have the drinks one. I should probably start doing merch associated with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll exist. There'll be coffee versions, there'll be tea versions. Leave it with me. I hate you, Dylan.
Look, you gotta be moving for ideas sometimes, all right, man? This is what comes out. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'll let Tony take his notes on some of the ideas that he'll steal from me again. You can have them, man. They're freebies. I'll throw them for you.
Notes taken. It'll happen. Just give me a few days.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. You have to send the sketches through. But for those at home, thank you so much for joining us again for another chat with a wonderful independent creator for many years in there. Thank you so much, Tony, for your time, man. Appreciate it as always. Can't wait to catch up with you in May at Tabletop.com, bud.
It's only like 2 months. Holy shit.
I know. It goes away. It goes so quickly. But yeah, until next time, we'll see you in the Indiverse. Bye now.
Alrighty. Bye.